here is integrated 3. It's 10-166, letter C and letter D. So letter C, it says calculate the area of triangle ABC if side AB is 17, side AC is 12, and measure of CAB is 48. So I always just draw a generic looking rectangle without any regard to how, trying to make it look like the long side is longer. I usually just draw this equilateral triangle. I label my sides, I label my lengths, and then I just look at it and try to figure out what's missing that I need. So in this case, they want the area, and I already have the area formula for a triangle memorized. It's 1/2 times base times height. And so I just drew a height right here. I drew it here rather than, I don't know, say here or somewhere else, because I wanted there to be a hypotenuse that I knew the whole length of the hypotenuse, so that's why I drew it that way. And then I can get this height by just calling it x, and I know that now that I have a right triangle, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so I can say sine of 48 is opposite over hypotenuse. So then I just multiplied both sides by 17 to get the x by itself, and I put it in my calculator. And I had to put my calculator into degree mode because I was in radian mode from the last problem I did. So if you don't get this answer, perhaps check and make sure you're in degree mode. So then I took my number, this is my height, and I put it in. Area is 1/2 times base times height. And I actually just left that number in my calculator, multiplied it by 12, divided it by 2, and I got 78.8 square units. So that's letter C. And then letter D. Letter D said, Raphael is creating plans for a triangular rock garden in his backyard. Two sides of the garden are 5 feet and 7 feet. If the angle between those sides is 80, how long is the third side? So again, I'm just going to draw a generic looking rectangle without any regard to how long each side is. And I just chose to, use these two sides with the 7 and the 5 and the 80. And I always go A, B, C. And then I was thinking to do law of sines on it, but I didn't have an angle and side across from it that I could use law of sines. So then I remembered that I had law of cosines memorized. The one I have memorized is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. Then I realized that might be confusing for you because of the way I labeled my triangle. But basically, as long as you have the angle that you're interested in and the side that's across from it in these two positions, the rest of it doesn't matter, because these are just the other two sides getting added up, and these are just the other two sides getting multiplied together. So, I mean, I rewrote it for you. Since I had already had this labeled as A, that's the one that I actually have an angle for, and then that's the side across from A. And then these other ones, it doesn't even matter which one I call B and which one I call C, because they're just getting added together anyway. So I hope that makes sense. So I just plugged my numbers in. And the mistake that students always make on this is they'll get this number, and then they'll think it's okay to go 74 minus 70 and get 4 times cosine 80, and you can't do that because the order of operations says you have to do this whole thing. Like, you have to multiply first. These are being multiplied. So that's why I showed the whole thing. Or if you just type it into your calculator, it'll probably do the order of operations for you. And then don't forget to take the square root at the end. And I got 79. Or I got 7.8641, so that's about 7.9.